Hey guys, let me walk you through why in this bearish market that we've had so far the last couple weeks, why I was looking for longs today. You could say I have been looking for longs. I do like the long, but today was very telling for a number of reasons, and I'll basically just be going over what I told one of my friends yesterday who is learning and doing very well to learn kind of on his own with ICT. um, and why I think that this is a potential flip point for us. I will also talk about possibility of going lower, but we'll get into that. We're gonna start just with this weekly fair value gap that's completely been untouched um, since we made this last June. So been looking at that for a while as we've come down. Like last week and the week before, it was always a possibility in my mind that we'd come into this. So that is the overarching theme here is a bounce from the weekly fair value gap and a bullish close. Now, I studied ICT. According to ICT, what you want to see in a bullish week, in theory, is Tuesday making the low of the week, right? In a bearish week, you would ideally want to see Tuesday making the high. Okay. Why am I going through all this? Because I'm going to show you two trades today, and I'll also tell you one trade that did not work out that I can't show because the account is gone. It was an evaluation, but I will walk you through how there's a lot going into taking these trades and how it starts on the higher time frames, and that's really where you're going to get the best opportunities, is when everything aligns. Okay, so we have this weekly. So I'm already looking for longs, or I'm thinking, if it displays itself, then we're willing. Okay, we are more than willing. So let's drop down. This was Monday. This was Monday here. Okay, and we had this, which I didn't actually mark. We had this end dog here, but we're not going to use that for now. I guess that is actually important, to be fair, because as you can see, this is what we bounced inside of. So let's go ahead and mark that. Would have been the end dog for 3:30. I always mark it for the day of, not the night that it happens. So we'll mark it end dog 3:30, and probably should have had that mark to be fair, but this is very telling. And that brings up another point that I'll get into in a minute. You can kind of feel when these things are happening, but regardless, here we have Monday. We'd love Tuesday to make the low. Now, probably going into the day, I would have expected London to do that, and London would be a Judas swing. But from my perspective, this was bullish enough where it just made the low instantly. It opened up here, came down, Asia made the low, and then we had this massive run up. Okay. To me, especially delivering from a weekly fair value gap, this is not a manipulative move. This is a real displacement upwards. The beginning of a buy curve is why I would see this as. Now, is that set in stone? No, of course not. But that to me, unfortunately, I was not. Actually, I did take a trade in Asia on another evaluation that I can't show because it's my fund of futures, and when you pass, you can upgrade it. So the account is gone. Probably should have screenshotted that, but it was around here and it delivered very quickly. But here we go. So that is the overall framework for why I took these two trades here, which I will show you, to pass apex evaluations today in one day, which is not really easy. Okay. So the first one, a little sloppy, honestly. I got up early today I got up probably around 5:30. I was watching the market, and I had this marked out as somebody in the Discord robotic had also noted that we had these. Holy. Okay, there we go. We had these equal lows down here, and we had this bounce. We had this bounce into the FEG, so I'll take it. I was planning on shorting it down to here, seeing where it would go, seeing if it would dump further, or if it would just go right below here and then start going long. I wanted to long, but I thought that this would get run. Now you can get into a dangerous point hyper fixating on equal lows like this, because these are great equal lows, but if we're bullish, especially if we're in a reversal, we don't need to come back there. Another point, as you can already tell, is that we had this end dog. Okay, new day opening gap, which is probably actually more like up there. I can't really tell here. Let's see. Yeah, right there. I'd actually mark that right there. That's a pretty big gap, but anyway, we're tapping into the end dog, or the end wog, actually. Damn. End wog, excuse me. Okay. And I could kind of just feel it. I kind of just feel that the order flow is not in my favor after pretty much right here. This candle, and obviously I flipped fortunately, I flipped right before this big one. But you can kind of just feel, and this is just screen time, guys, and it's not always, I can't always feel it, but I kind of feel that this IFEG was kind of a pivot point here of, we're not bearish. It's not going to go down and grab those, which is fine. Fortunately, had I waited probably, I don't know, 10 seconds longer, would have been liquidated, but got a little lucky this time. And then hit a little ad right here. And this guy, which had a volume imbalance. If you listen to some of my stuff, you know that I love the volume imbalances, so that's where I added. And then my position was, I think, around here. I think that's where my position was, something like that. I don't think it ever went into red. So, I mean, took it off at basically Asia high, which is all that we needed. I added in because I didn't know how much it would deliver, and I wanted to try and capitalize on that. So this is a couple things. This is getting it wrong and correcting it, getting lucky. This is in real time, realizing that I am against the order flow right there. And I wouldn't say this is like the most clean delivery or anything. So you could be bullish and still have absolutely lost today, 100%. I mean, this is not. Asia is much cleaner today. Asia, we have multiple entries here, especially if you're looking for longs. You have this to play off of. This is a regular paired FVG right here, 2 FVGs in a row. You have this IFVG to play off of, and then you have this one too. And I mean, you can hold that for all day, but probably you're not going to. You could hold it to PM is probably where I'd be taking it, or you could do NWOG if you got that marked. I mean, both are great targets. So anyway, I did not trade past around here. I went to the gym with this other trade that I'm about to show you open. Market was okay. I mean, this really isn't easy to trade any of this stuff, to be honest, unless you're just hardcore committed to that bias. The best thing that I would see here, whoops, until I don't do this very often, I need to more. The best thing that I would see here is really just this guy. Is operating based on the inverse of these bearish, because if you're bullish, if you have the bias right, and these get flipped, you're fine to long that or long that on the retest, and then you can capture some of that lunch move. Not a lot of people that I know trade lunch. I love it. Call me weird. This one, what do we do on this one? Okay, this one we tried to long again, and then got stopped out. I forgot about that one. Perhaps a little greedy, but I was not worried about it, as you can see here, because this is really the trade that I wanted to talk about the most. But I feel like if you just show this one, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, great trade, bro. You got lucky. Here we go. The framing for this trade was this. Was the 15-minute FEG here. Okay. With true day open inside of it. Okay, so we have three things going on here. We have this sweep. Okay. Which swept me out too on that other one, as you can see. These accounts aren't easy to pass because you have a $1,000 daily loss limit, so you need to basically take a 3-to-1 to pass it, and it can't just be a 3-to-1. It needs to be 3,000, so you need 150. So it's good to add in, so it's just difficult. But you had all this, or I guess it would be all this, that's sitting there after we swept out, you know, Asia, London, and then these got untouched so far. So I still had a good target here for these guys, and I was just bullish. So I'm fine to take another long. Why did I enter right here and get 0 drawdown basically on a $3,000 trade? I'll tell you. The truth is, I had no idea that it would work. It was, you know, 7 points of drawdown, and we got whatever that was. I think it was right there. So 151 or so, 152. That's not what the trade was. The trade was this. You know, because I'm willing to take that daily loss limit if that's what needs to happen. Because I was playing off of the 15. And that's, you know, it would have been invalidated, you know, somewhere around there. I'd allow it to wick at that point. I'd just see what happens. But when something tees up like this, here we go. When something tees up like this to me, where you have this going on, right? You have this setup of liquidity, and then you have true day inside of a 15, and you think you have the bias, right? I mean, I'm in the business of taking good trades. I'm not in the business of getting it right all the time. I'm in the business of taking trades that if I lose, I can sleep with. And that typically yields money for me. So if this was a funded account instead of an eval, I probably would have just closed it right there. I probably would have just closed it at that liquidity that I marked out, called it a day. That would have been, you know, whatever. That would have been okay, 100 points. We're fine with that. Is there logic to, in the situation that we're in with the weekly fair value gap, holding that for the rest of the day? Sure. Yeah, there's logic. That's just not how I trade. But it's not wrong. It's definitely not wrong. I like to use true day as a target. If you know my trading at all, I really like to use true day as a target, especially in London. I like to look for shorts above true day, look for longs below true day, especially in London. And I also have noticed that the market likes to reject true day in certain scenarios like this. So have I taken a ton of these trades from true day? No, I really haven't. Normally I'm targeting true day, but you know, a setup like this, which may come from just screen time more than anything, is what it is. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions about that, about any of this, I mean, this is the perfect balance. You know, what I told my friend yesterday is I would love to see. Yeah, the other piece of this too that I guess I didn't touch on is that there's targets above us. So we had that daily FEG. We had this daily FEG. I know my marking is just horrific, but we have these two that need to be filled in. quote unquote need to be filled in, right? And then we have this. Let me just get this out of here. And then we have this big guy right here, which is a weekly volume imbalance. That's a high priority draw. And then you just have all this shenanigans over here. Absolute shenanigans right here. I don't even know what to call it. I don't think you could find that on the chart anywhere else, to be honest. Let's do a quick. I mean, that's like the closest that we're gonna get, but that is horrific. That is 3 weeks that basically closed where they opened and wicked both ways. I mean, that is tough trading. So, if you survive that, well done. Well done. It hasn't been easy. And I really, that should demonstrate it right there that people aren't just yapping when they say that it's been difficult. I mean, it genuinely has. That doesn't mean that you can't make money. That doesn't mean that those people aren't making money that say that. I'm making money in these weeks, but it's it's hard, and I commend everyone that's sticking with it because it's just been choppy. But that's a good bounce right there, and I personally would be remaining bullish until proven otherwise. The thesis that I could see for going lower is to go take out the people that got in today, basically, and go make a run on this IFVG as a new spot to bounce. Because we also would have, in theory, an order block right there. So, this could also operate as a potential order block, but I'm not really into order blocks as much. If we do want to go lower, it's going to be to take these guys out. I would expect a weekly wick to come down there, and the body still respects this and really respects the weekly FEG that we're inside of right now. So, do I think it's going to go lower? No. Am I ready for it? Of course, you have to be. I won't sit there longing it as it's dropping, but I'm looking for longs, guys. I'm looking for rating all of this. I'm looking for working our way back up above, pretty much working our way back up above this guy, these guys, and then we can look at retracement and go for all-time highs is what I'm seeing towards the end of the year or 2027. But that's a big bounce in a perfect spot for its bounce after weeks of shenanigans. So we'll see if it clears up. If not,